Hello, everybody. Sorry, fixing my stream and everything. Okay, how's everybody doing this morning? Up there. It's perfect as long as nothing moves. So today is our live show. How's everybody doing out there? Tuesday, 9 to 11, coffee chat time. Hey, Lahina. Good morning, hon. How are ya, girl? Ooh, my second cup. And I had a good night. Look at no puffiness, huh? Well, I can't stay focused on no, I didn't see Chris's mom's video. Where did she post something? Aw, thanks, hon. On the Denver news. Okay, I'll have to look it up. I get post notifications from them too. That's so weird that I didn't see that. Please tell me more. Tell me more. What happened 9 hours ago? Oh, shoot. I wish I would have seen that. I feel like if I go, I don't know, my hair's probably a mess in the back, but I feel like if I just look on there quickly right now, that I might be able to find it. And then the other thing I wanted to ask, what was her name again? Darn it. Sandra? No. Is that Shanann's mom? Darn it. Is it Sandra? She's sticking up for him. I have to see it. Yeah, no kidding. Okay, I'm going to go over to Denver News / Chris Watts mom. See if that helps. I wonder, it's only 2 minutes, so see if I can't. You guys might hear this if it starts playing, just because.
The man who pleaded guilty to murdering his entire family, reaching out to the problem solvers. I'm Jeremy Hubbard.
And I'm Anastasia Brady.
Good morning, Tammy. Tammy, I sent you a private message just so you know. Just had a quick question.
Well, tonight, his mother is speaking to Fox 31 for the very
All right, let's hear this together.
She believes that he was coerced into taking the plea deal. Fox 31's Kagan Harsha brings us the story. New tonight at 10. Kagan.
Yeah, I just got off the phone with Cindy Watts a few moments
Cindy,
ago. She
that's
said
what it
the
was.
last several months have been a nightmare for her family, and she understands her son Chris is to blame, she says, for much of that. However, she insists he is not guilty of all that he has admitted to as part of that plea deal, even though she also admits she doesn't have a lot of evidence to back that up.
Oh, well.
He went into a rage, and he killed her when he saw her strangling Celeste.
Cindy Watts says she knows her son Chris is guilty of murder, but she does not believe he murdered his 2 kids.
He did kill her, but for the kids, no. It's very difficult. It's very difficult because I just can't imagine my son doing that. He couldn't have done that.
Cindy Watts spoke to us via FaceTime from her home in North Carolina, and she tells us she believes her son was coerced by prosecutors into accepting a plea deal.
Yes, I want to stop it before it's too late. I want to talk to him. We haven't been able to talk to him. I love my son. Yes, I love my son no matter what.
Wow.
No matter what. And I want to fight for him, and I don't want him to go down for something that he didn't do.
I totally understand that.
Based on the conversation she had with him, a half-hour conversation shortly after he was arrested, Chris Watts will avoid the death penalty in exchange for that plea deal.
Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, you guys. The fact that they're going to try to come back and say that there was anything that was coerced or done incorrectly on the lawyer's side of Chris Watts, that's going to create. Okay, so here's the thing. There's a motion that was sent in on the 6th of November, I believe, and that motion states that all of the evidence is going to be returned to the Watts family. And the person that's picking up that evidence is Ronnie Watts, his dad. So let me just say that if they return all of this DNA evidence, and we don't know if it's just Chris Watts's clothes or if it's all of the DNA of everybody's there in the entire case, because they don't specify. They just say the DNA in the case. So, like, let's be realistic. They probably have DNA on Shanann and Celeste and Bella and whatever. Maybe they don't on Bella and Celeste, but they definitely do on Shanann. So to return all of the evidence over to the Watts family is going to eliminate the fact that they'll ever be able to go back for a retrial with that evidence, because there will be no way to prove whether that's been tampered with in any way, shape, or form to, get that retrial. So it's really baffling to me that they're going to even try to return the DNA evidence. Like, we haven't even fully gone through the process yet, and they're already talking about returning evidence. So I think that that's really weird, I have to admit. All right, I'm missing a whole bunch of messages here. I better catch up. Good morning, Brenda. Hi, Christine. Hey, Tammy. How's everybody doing this morning? Before we just dive into all of this. But I am glad to have seen that video, that interview with Chris's mom. I just think, like, who wouldn't really love their son or daughter, regardless that they made a mistake, right? I mean, that's pretty, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe there are people out there who would disown or not, have them in their family. Where do you guys find those videos? That video was on the Denver News, and it was just a FaceTime video with Chris's mom, Cindy. And of course she loves her son and she's on his side, of course, right? So sorry for my messy hair, you guys. So the fact that they're going to, return this evidence in this motion to Ronnie Watts. Okay, so here's the thing. Once the 19th rolls around and Chris has stood in front of a judge and the judge has physically, verbally explained each and every charge, each and every right, each and every person attached to that charge and all of that, once they go through all of that, and if Chris Watts says that he understands all of that, then he will just get sentenced. Now, we may get to Monday and Chris may decide, you know what? No, I don't want to just get sentenced, and I feel like, there should be a trial, and I really didn't do that much wrong, or blah, 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 whatever it is his argument or fight is going to be. He may get there Monday in front of that judge and say he doesn't understand, and he feels that this wasn't done correctly, and he wants to go through the trial, process. And so that could very well still happen. We just have to wait and see what the judge says. Lahaina, I have seen a lot of the news stuff for sure. Yes. But the thing about Facebook now, and with all the privacy rights and stuff like that, is that we can't record news channel clips without having copyright infringements. So I can't actually show you guys that interview, but you guys can go on to the Denver News and check it out yourselves. Because let's face it, we're all trying to eat and pay our bills over here, right? So if I put all my videos up of different news channels, they're the ones that are going to reap the benefits financially of that. And I need the benefits of that. So let's be realistic here, right? So I try to make my videos kind of just about the facts that I have found or the things that I've heard, and then I put it out to you guys. So definitely, I'll definitely go check out the other news channels later. You're welcome. Hi, Joan. Hi, Mrs. Milano. That's such a cool last name. It's a new video. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. But like, I don't understand why. I wish I would have printed the motion. I'm just thinking about that now, and I'm thinking maybe I could go to my computer while we are talking. Like the cookie. What are you talking about, Joan? Let's see if I can't just sit here for a second and print this out because it is pretty ironic that they're doing all of these different things. So hopefully that's okay for a couple minutes. We'll print this thing. I wish I would have thought of that first, but hey, that's a good thing about laptops is they're portable. 6 more days, can't stand it anymore. I know what you mean, Lahaina. Excuse me. So I get frustrated with stupid little things super easily. So like the second that something isn't working properly, which is my mouse right now. Oh Lord, hopefully my mouse. Sorry guys, I just gotta find a mouse quick here. Of course I put them all in the bags. Of course. But I think that it'll be a good thing for us to sort of read this motion together, and then you guys can sort of understand a little bit more too. And you know what? If any of you guys aren't already following Scott Reisch, like that guy is he's a practicing criminal attorney, and he has been practicing for like 23 plus years or whatever, right? So he spent a few minutes talking about this motion and the fact that it's weird that they're going to give back all of this DNA evidence to the family. It just makes no sense. So I'm already on the Colorado judicial site. Sorry, that's taking a couple of minutes, you guys. I just really want to get this information read out to you guys so you kind of understand it a little bit too. So go down to the bottom and filed by Law and Crime Network. So there's been a bunch more files for the press wanting to get some coverage, but I'm going to print this, which is already ready. Sometimes things are quick, sometimes they take a few minutes, eh? Already printing. Yes. Ta-da! Uh-oh. Of course I don't have any paper. Oh my gosh, one thing after another. So, okay, so is there any other cases that anybody else is sort of following that we can discuss, or is this one sort of the biggest one for everybody? Lord, please help me to figure this out. There seems to be something stuck. Oh, you guys, I'm going to feel really bad if I've gone ahead and like done all of this and for nothing because I can't get it to print. Shoot. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't know what's going on with my printer. I don't know why. Oh, I wish I had some extra paper. Regardless, okay, this isn't going to work for right now, but you know what? I have it in front of my computer here, if you guys could see that. So why don't I just forget about printing it, and we can just do that right here. All right, so all right. You know what? Oh, okay. I was just going to say it's not there anymore, but it is here. I just didn't scroll far enough down. So there's all his charges. Okay. In the evidence disposition stipulation. Okay, I've missed a whole bunch more messages. Yes, Scott is great, you guys, and he really does explain things really well. Yeah, it's definitely torn at a lot of our hearts. The only no for me is what? The only what for you, Lahaina? KNE. It literally hurts me. It's almost not normal. It's definitely not normal. Jodi Arias, though, like that girl was a piece of work, don't you think? Like, holy smokes. If I was a guy, I'd be scared of girls like that. Like, holy cow. Talk about psycho. Like, oh my goodness. Okay, so Chris Watts, Maria, hi. If Chris Watts' parents has not been able to talk to their son, it's because Chris does not want to talk to his parents because Chris Watts feels so guilty. You know what? That's true because he does get an hour every day to make phone calls, but maybe he has, most of those phone calls have been taken up with his attorneys and stuff for right now. I'm not sure why she hasn't talked to him. That's really weird. That's true. That is a little bit weird. Okay, so let's go into evidence disposition, stipulation, and order. Now it says here, the defendant understands that evidence being held by law enforcement agencies in this case could contain DNA, and the parties stipulate that the defendant's identification is a disputed issue. And that answer, there's yes or no file there, right? So they say no, they're not disputing who did this at all. Then it says law enforcement holds evidence that contains known DNA. It also states no. Then it says evidence that has not been tested could be subjected to a DNA test. That it says yes. And then this case includes DNA evidence that should be preserved. And that answer says no. So let me just say that if Chris Watts is going to turn around and say that he doesn't think things are done properly in his case, he has every right to turn around and want a retrial. And there's no statute of limitations on that, you guys. So why would they ever want to give back the evidence or the DNA versus preserving it? Oh, thank you, Maya, or me, Ona. Thanks for the compliment. Joan Milano, Jodi Arias was beyond nuts. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I feel bad for, some of the guys out there that are meeting some of these crazy women. Like, holy smokes, But anyways, so, it makes no sense why Chris Watts, and this all has to be done on his permission, you guys. This can't be done without his knowledge. He knows, and he's requesting that this is being done. So he's taking away the evidence of his trial, which in turn is going to take away his opportunity to ever get a retrial. So it's like, what's happening here? And then sure enough, it does state that evidence logged provided in discovery. The defendant agrees and the court orders that law enforcement may discard, destroy, or return all items of evidence set forth on the attached log, and that evidence will be released according to the law enforcement agency's procedures, and the defendant waives any right to further notification before the evidence is released. A photo ID is required for release of evidence. The representative of the defendant who may collect the property is Ronnie Watts. That's his dad. So I'm so baffled as to why the family would be, taking this evidence back. If for one, Cindy Watts thinks that her son was coerced into making a decision on this case that wasn't in his best interest or whatever, whatever it is that they're going to try and say that the lawyers didn't do properly or that Chris wasn't advised properly on something, whichever it is, they're ready to turn back the evidence so that there's nothing left sitting in a case in a box at all for Chris Watts. That's just so weird. Like that's just unheard of. Plunder said that there was crying before the trial. Plunder is not a fact-based site. You know that, right? Like all that site is doing is just stirring up, trying to get views. So they are putting in false descriptions, false titles, They're trying to get the clicks. And as soon as they get the clicks, you guys, they get paid. So like they're winning already because all of us are online going, oh, they found something. They found something. Meanwhile, they didn't find shit. They don't know nothing. All they're doing is reposting Shanann's videos and adding in crazy descriptions to say that it's something that it's not. And in my opinion, that is wrong. Pretty straight up, that's wrong. You know, it doesn't really give you guys the best insight to if you want to click on something. So you end up clicking on it. And like I said, they're getting the compensation for that. Meanwhile, they didn't do anything. All they did was put up a video and a lie and said, here, please watch this kind of thing. And everybody's jumping all over it because of the descriptions and the video titles. So I pride myself on kind of having facts and information. Fake news, exactly, Brenda. But at the same time, you guys, I can be wrong. I'm human. I might mishear something. I might not understand something the right way. You know, whatever it is, I'm able to admit that. But I feel like Plunder hasn't done any work at all in their you know, I feel like they just kind of came out of the woodworks to show everybody, you know what, we don't actually really have to do anything and we can still collect money on this. Like, that's the kind of people that are kind of taking advantage of the victim, in my opinion. This isn't, they're not trying to interact. They're not trying to put out anything. They're just straight up lies and deceit just to get money. And that's victim shaming, in my opinion. But to each their own, right? I just hope YouTube understands that we all still need to eat. We all still have bills to pay. And I hope that they compensate everybody accordingly that has been putting out work, that they do have their ads on their channels and things like that. So it's really difficult to get a hold of YouTube. And that's what's really frustrating, is because nobody can actually ever call them and say anything to them or speak to someone. It's all links into other help links, into other help things. And nothing ever reaches a person. So unless you're sending in like feedback, but then you don't even hear what they do about the feedback. It's kind of frustrating in a sense, because you don't really know where you're at with some things once you've reached a certain threshold. You know, it just kind of sits in limbo for so long, and it's like, well, what's happening? Plunder, hi, Sunkissed. Because in the beginning, Chris Watt's parents' interview, that they stated that they have not been able to see their son while in custody. Did not. Yeah, you know what? I think that is because Chris did not want to see them, but I would have assumed that he had been talking with his dad and stuff. Plunder is a dunderhead. You're funny, Sunkissed. You're kidding, eh? I guess we can go back to the kitchen area, but I did want to read that to you guys so that, you know, you got a sense of sort of what was happening on the judicial side of things. So, you know, tell me your thoughts. What do you think that, you know, based on what I've said to you guys, what do you think that they're planning to sort of do with this? Because they certainly can't re-enter the evidence later and say, you know, here's the evidence again. Please test this now. They sort of have their chance to do this like now. And if they're going to take it back, I feel like it's going to be tainted at that point. Brenda, only in Colorado. I don't know. There's some doozies all over. I'm just going to quickly blow my nose. Ooh, there was something I did want to ask you guys this morning. Okay, so, sorry. If I have any viewers that would be willing to, I have these scan and subscribe flyers. Now, this is a QR code that I created for my channel. And if there's anybody that would like to maybe put some of these up, I'm trying to grow my channel's subscribers as much as I can. So like, depending on what areas you're in, if there's busyness, like around a library or, you know, a mall or bus stops or something like that, where you could sort of, you know, staple something up or whatever, I was hoping that maybe some of my viewers might want to put some of these up for me to try to grow my channel a little bit more. I mean, ultimately, my goal is to have like 1 million subscribers, but we're at the bottom of the barrel kind of thing, and we're building. You know, I started from 0, and now I'm up to 2,400, and I'd like to keep that going. I feel like the more people are on my channel, the more people will understand and get that awareness for crimes and things happening around the world. You know, you live in New Jersey. That's really cool. I've had a few of my friends in the United States put some of these up in different states and areas. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to just sort of talk a little bit about, you know, what I've done to build my channel. And this was one of the really nice ways that I was able to. I paid to have these printed, and I have them in 3 different colors. And it helps, you know, people see it and they wonder, oh, what is that? Scan and subscribe. So they scan it and they see, and you know, let's face it, who's not interested? Well, I can't say who's not interested, but there's a lot of people that are interested in true crimes, missing people, natural disasters, and chaos happening around the world, which is exactly what my channel is. So that would be awesome, Ellen, if you wanted to. Hi, Annie. How are you, girl? If you wanted to help me out with posting some of these, I would love that. I don't send out very many, honestly. Basically, how it works is you would message me with your address information, and then I put about 10 of these inside of an envelope for you. And as you go about your days, if you're out and about, you know, you can just put one up or whatever. And you know, many people usually see that in busy areas such as bus stops or malls or libraries, you know, busy intersections, stuff like that, where people are kind of standing, waiting for the light, looking around. They would see something like this and wonder, oh, what is that, right? For those who aren't interested, would scan it and be like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to watch. But you live in a small town, Brenda. That's totally understandable. It won't be for everyone, but I did think it might be an opportunity that I could ask my viewers if anybody out there would want to help, you know, build this a little bit bigger with me. So I'm being very candidly honest, you know, just definitely want to build a bigger following just to spread even more awareness. Ellen, I believe there's a way that you can send me a private message in YouTube here. If not, what we can do is you can send me your name and I can look you up on Facebook, and then you can messenger me your address if that works. I'm not sure if you're on Facebook because not everybody is, right? I use that media platform to spread all of my videos. I have, you know, about 4,500 viewers on there. So but you don't always get the views. You don't get seen as much, right? Like there's, with 4,500 friends, Facebook isn't putting your stuff out to every one of them. They put it out to a bunch, right? So you are on Facebook? Okay. I will look you up right now just because it's easier to do it while it's fresh in my mind. Ellen Diamond. I wonder if anybody can tell me if my friend request is back on Facebook. I've put it so that everybody can request me because some people were saying that they couldn't see the friend request button. Ellen, are you the first one or the second one or the third or the fourth or none of them? You're on Facebook, Tracy Loven? Okay, we'll definitely look you up as well. How do we get our info to me? Yes, so there should be a way to send a private message here in YouTube, but if you can't find it, which I understand technology and every site's different and all that kind of jazz. So if you can't find it here on YouTube, then go, you know, give me your name. It says Staten Island. So none of these 4 ones are you then? Chicago to Manhattan. Maybe I'll just punch in Staten Island. University Hospital. So maybe we can just, maybe you can just tell me which one of these photos is you, girl. If any of them, if not, I'll scroll to the next bunch. If none of those are yours. Did you see that by chance, or did I take it away too soon? And then Tracy Loven, while Ellen is figuring that out, I will look you up. It's a pic of your granddaughter kissing you. So difficult to find these things online. And then I feel stupid because we're sitting here not talking about any of the cases or anything. And then I end up losing viewers because I'm on my damn phone and I'm like, ah! Yeah, I can't find you, girl. I don't see any photos of anybody kissing I don't see anybody kissing anybody. Oh my gosh. Ellen, yeah, I don't know which one's yes or which one's no that you're saying. That's so funny. I gotta go and find Tracy Loven. Hopefully we don't have any issues. It's so difficult to try to match these things up while we're on a live, but I really wish it was easier for you guys to find the message button right here on YouTube, because maybe Tammy's still online. Maybe Tammy can help direct you guys to where to look for that message me button kind of thing. Tracy, is it CIE or Y? CILOVAN. Tracy, are you the optician at Walmart, girl? Tracy? You know what, Brenda? It is a better day for me. I did not cry all last night. I'm not puffy today. I'm trying to stay happy. Happiness is something, that I find that I have to work on a lot of times, because it's easy to get down about life. And it's easy to stay there too. But, you got to pick yourself up and move on. Otherwise, you're only going to hurt yourself more by staying in that kind of a state. So, Tracy, I just need to know if you are the person in the optician at Walmart. It's the first one that pulled up. So hopefully you're still on and you can tell me if that's right. That's right. Okay, perfect. So we got you. And then Ellen, I'm going to check out Armstrong. Ellen Armstrong. Is it still going to be a picture of you kissing your granddaughter or no? Are you in Plainwell, Michigan? Is that you, the second one? It's under Ellen Diamond. Are you sure? Where did you say you were from again? I can't even remember now. Crying out loud. You can help? That would be awesome, Christine. Can anybody help with telling the viewers where to find the message me button? Excuse me. Ellen Armstrong. There's one with somebody kissing a granddaughter. So does anybody know how to message me on YouTube here or no? But Tracy, I did get you. Anyways, so back to the whole, Watts, sending all of the evidence over to his dad, whether or not he's an officer or not, really doesn't make any sense, because the second that you let that evidence out, it can be tampered with and tainted, and it can no longer be used in trial. So whatever it is that they do have, to give it back to the Watts family, in my opinion, is just plain, to give it away, to send it back. Why don't you have them go to your Facebook and message you there? Well, Joan, that's the problem is I can't find everybody on Facebook. I've been looking. Yes, that's you, Ellen Armstrong in Plainwell, Michigan, kissing your granddaughter right there. That one's you. Saraville, New Jersey. So that's not you then. Oh, my back. Seriously. Sit back. I have this brace on, but it's just bugging me. Yeah, I don't see you, honey. I'm not sure how to find you. I've got to move this thing closer. I can't even see the messages from that far, and I can't lean over because my back is freaking killing me. Ugh. You'll message me on Facebook. Are you sure you can find me? Because like that was what I was trying to ask everybody is does it show that my friend request is back for everybody or not? Because that wasn't available for people before, but I don't know if because I've changed the settings, I can't see what you guys see. I can only see what Facebook shows me. Which is stupid because you'd love to be able to see what the hell they're showing to other people, but whatever. Trying to be happy with the way things are, even though it's completely out of my control. Did you guys hear about how Europe is they're going after Google and like all the big companies, eBay, all the huge software companies. Okay, they are down there because like their head offices are down there because it's financially better for them to be down there, but they're also going after them for this infringement of our rights when they create these apps and these products and these things we can use, but then they make us have to abide or click that we agree with their terms and conditions and all of that stuff. So it's kind of forcing us that if we want to use the app, well, we have to agree to their terms and conditions, which is not giving us any other choice. Because if you don't have another choice, well, then that's coercion. They're sort of forcing you to allow them to have your private information and do with it whatever the hell they want kind of thing. And that's in all their fine print. And if you decide, no, you don't want that, well, then you just can't use the app. So they're not giving you really any other option. And now the European people, the high ups, are going after them for this to try to change this law to make it that we can have control over our own information versus them having control over it. And I recently ordered my file from Facebook. I downloaded all of my personal information file for everything I've ever done on there since the time that I've opened my account. And I was watching this news yesterday, and the person who had done this in Europe said that Facebook had on there even messages that were deleted that he thought he deleted were still on there. So like everything and anything, all your personal information, all of your credit card information, all your address information, all your phone number information, everything and anything you've ever done online, there's a record of it. And you can actually request for this record to be, in your hands. You just have to give it some time for them to collect all the data. But I'm okay, Rumpelstiltskin. How are you? What does that mean by denouncing him or denouncing Hun? What? Sorry. I don't think I said denouncing. Sorry. You saw that, Joan? Oh, sorry. Shanann's parents are denouncing what Chris Watts' parents said. Yeah. You know what? Well, I don't know if there's any truth to it either. Not once, but twice he has already admitted that it was him that strangled them. You messaged me on Messenger. Okay. After I'm finished with the live, I'll get to that because I just feel like I keep losing people because I'm focused on the stupid phone, and that's just rude, and I'm not trying to do that to you guys. So, you know, I find it's really odd that I have a question. In the next hearing, will they ask Chris Watts what happened? The next hearing is going to be in front of the judge, and the judge is going to be asking him if he understands every single one of his rights and if he understands every single one of his charges and what each and every one of those means. And if he says that he understands all of that, then he's going to get sentenced. If he comes out and says that he doesn't understand something, or that his lawyers didn't, you know, advise him of something or whatever, they can dispute that and go back to trial mode. Shannon was a loving, faithful wife and mother. Yeah, I know, you know, it is pretty sad, you know, that his parents are just sort of not really looking at it clearly, I feel like. And I guess that's because they're an insider to the situation. But, you know, come on, your son admitted to choking, you know, the mother of your grandchildren. And he admitted to choking his daughters too, which were your grandchildren. Well, you know, I understand wanting to love your child, wanting to sort of stand by their side no matter what, in a sense. Doesn't matter what they did wrong. But at the same time, like, you know, come on. Is that what he's trying to do? What, sorry, Brenda. Yeah, it's weird that they didn't really show very much compassion. Like, they're kind of feeling sorry for their son. I don't know. I would have been all up in that jail house trying to freaking get questions answered from my son if that would have been me in this situation. The courts. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if he is trying to do this in court. What I do know is that this is his last opportunity to say or do that he did not understand, or he was not properly informed, or he was not advised, or whatever he's going to try to come up with, if that's the case. We don't actually know. He might get there and say, yep, he understands every darn thing, and just give me my sentence and let's get on with this. Who knows? Nobody knows at this point, other than maybe the lawyers at most. So we got to get in front of the judge in order for... Yeah, his mom was a little bit flat. Yeah, I agree. Now that I've seen that too, you know. And like I said, as a parent, you know, you'd want to sort of be there for your child at the same time as you can't condone that behavior, you know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily mean that she would love him less, because that's her son that she birthed, and she carried him for 9 months and she raised him and all of that jazz. So I'm sure that maybe she, you know, does really love him, but I'm sure she doesn't love his actions. And well, let's hope she doesn't. Sheesh. Because it is a little bit weird that she's flat about that. Tracy, you sent your info. Okay, hun. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. I don't want to keep, you know, reiterating it and saying, hey, if anybody wants to hand these out. I just thought I'd take a few minutes on a live where, you know, I had a few viewers, if you guys are interested in helping me build the channel bigger, you know. Has the district attorney sentenced anyone else to the death penalty? I'm not sure if that particular district attorney has ever seeked the death penalty in any other case, but I do know that the state of Colorado has only ever put one person to death in their entire history. And you can find that information on their death row site, and that's on the Colorado judicial system as far as I know. But really, really interesting that the entire state of Colorado only has ever put to death one person, which means all those other people are just sitting on death row. And from what I understand from death row, it is a lot easier than general population or protected population. They have a whole nother way of life over there, kind of thing, where you know, they're allowed to have TVs and coloring and books and all kinds of things in their rooms, in their cells or whatever. And they have access to computers and libraries and gyms, and like they live a pretty okay life from what I understand. You know, and so like the authorities going down to Shanann's family and asking them what they want, you know, do they want to pursue the death penalty, because it could prolong the court process, and it could prolong, you know, them having to go back in and speak to the courts or whatever. You know, they chose to just go for life without parole, you know. Wonder if he's ever been held accountable for anything as a child growing up. Sounds he could get away with anything with his parents. Yeah, who knows, Annie? That's something that I want to do, but financially I'm not able to afford that right yet. And that's the criminal background checks on people. You usually have to pay for that kind of information. And I just don't have that right now, you guys. I literally have not received a cent yet for anything that I've done for work on my YouTube channel. So I'm hoping that there's some compensation coming for all of my work soon, but I have no idea when that's going to happen. So when that happens, I'm hoping I can at that point afford to be able to sign up on these sites to get the criminal background checks and pay for that. Because there is ways to find out what is in his criminal background, but you have to pay for it to get that information. So yes, I know. I hate it when my phone autocorrects. It literally makes me start cursing and swearing. I'm not always like this nice girl sometimes. I get super mad and I start cursing and swearing like a sailor because I'm just like so irritated about something. They are in shock. Oh my goodness. They have excused it by saying Shanann was abusive. Yeah, you know, and maybe they were in shock, but I don't know if that's any excuse, to be honest. Try to sit up again a little bit here. Every time I lean over, my back just starts just throbbing, you guys. Just, I don't know. They don't seem like they're showing any emotion towards their grandchildren. You know, or maybe they've just clipped it out of their mind, which is just sad, because that's the whole reason that we're here, is because of what he did to those kids and Shanann. So I don't understand, you know, how his family is sitting over there saying they don't think that they think he was coerced into all of this. Like, he wasn't excessively like put under the spotlight. He wasn't, you know, hounded by cops for freaking 48 hours with no sleep and no food. And you know what I mean? There's no coercion here. Like, I don't understand where they're coming from on that, you know? But whatever, you know, I guess to each their own. And if this is the way that they want to try to fight for him or with him, what can we do, right? To each their own. For ruining his parents' life and his own, that's all he cared about. Nothing about Shanann, the girls, or her parents' life being ruined. Rumpelstiltskin, where did you get that information that Chris Watts said all of that? And is it valid, or is that just something that a news media channel has said that he said, or is that something that you have a fact somewhere from? Or former governor stopped the killing Nathan Dunlap so he could get elected. All appeals have ran out. Yeah. While I have a good 18, 20 viewers or so on here, if there's anybody interested in helping me build my channel and putting out a few of these scan and subscribe flyers, these are to connect to my channel to help build it a little bit more. We would like to spread awareness more than what we're doing. So if you guys are interested in handing any of these out, you can privately send me your address information and I can send you a few of these little flyers to put up around some busy spots. whether that's, you know, public libraries or malls or movie theaters or whatever. Just let me know if that's something that interests you. Oh, the Fox News. I wonder how credible some of these stories are, you guys. Like, I don't think that there's been a media that's been allowed into the jails to speak to Chris Watts. So I'm not sure that that could be validated as something credible. I feel like that could just be something that they're using to get views, you know, because that's how the news station rolls too, right? Plus they have their commercials that makes them a ton of money. Parents speak finally. Yeah, the parents speaks finally. Yeah, that's true. Yes, you do, even if they say free. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you got to pay even if they say free. You got that right. I haven't saw any news here in the UK. You just look on YouTube. Yeah. And there hasn't been like a whole lot in Canada. I rely mostly online as well, you guys. But, you know, you got to weed through some of the stuff that may not be true. There may not be credible stations in a sense, you know, like the national news. Like, I don't know. They're not that, you know, National Post and stuff like that. No, nothing in Canada. I have to rely strictly on the Colorado judicial site and, you know, validating some informations that I find online. But sub to some overseas news. Oh, that's a good idea, Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, whereabouts? Rumpelstiltskin, I'd love to ask what you think about the fact that they're going to be returning all of the DNA evidence to Ronnie Watts, to the Watts family. And, like, you know, the fact that they can't ever do a retrial, like, there's no statute of limitations on murder. So I don't understand why they would return the evidence to the Watts family before they've even sort of finished with all of this. And they filed that motion on the 6th already. Like, they haven't even waited to get in front of the judge. Like I wonder what's going to happen if they return that before he gets to the judge, and then Chris Watts decides that he wants to have a trial and there's no more evidence or something like that. Like, is this a scheme in order to create for a trial to be thrown out? Because you would think that if they're going to return evidence like that, then it would automatically be, no, you can't have a retrial because we don't have any evidence to go on now, like, other than autopsy reports and stuff that's a report, you know. Once they give away these clothing items or whatever it is that they have, because we don't actually even know what all they have. We can't just assume that it's just Chris's DNA stuff. We can't just assume that it's just his evidence, because it was the entire case. So there's no way they're just going to take Chris's stuff and give it back to the Watts family. It doesn't make any sense. Brenda, are you talking to me when you say you wish you still lived in Denver, or are you talking to somebody else? You're talking about me? I'm in Canada, honey. I'm all the way up in Canada. I love you guys as the States, but I've actually never lived there. I've always lived in Canada, but I did take the legal assistant course here in Canada in 2017, or 2016, 2017 was when I graduated. You know, so I've just sort of ran with that in the sense of spreading awareness on things, issues of interest and crimes and things that are out there. So being I'm not in Denver myself, but I'm very on top of a lot of the stuff that's happening around the world because, you know, it could pertain to us. We could get something like that happens here, but it didn't happen here. It happened there. So we're just going to follow the story from here, you know? If you lived in Denver, you would help me with the case info. Oh, I gotcha. I'm sorry. You're explaining all of that. And meanwhile, that's not even what you meant. Ay, that's me for you. Yeah, Rumpelstiltskin, are you talking about the interview on the Denver News or somewhere else now too? Because I wouldn't doubt if the news crews news stations are coming out of the woodworks, knocking on their door, offering them money to speak to them, you know, because this is such a closed lip situation. There's no way that they're not offering money for them to speak. So but yeah, it's definitely a thinker like Rumpelstiltskin. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on the fact that they're giving back all the evidence and DNA to the Ronnie Watts, to Chris Watts's dad. And have you read that motion? Have you seen that even? Ruby Watts' personal items. I don't think so. If you go read that motion, it says all evidence. I've got it still up on my computer, Rumpelstiltskin. I was sitting over here earlier, sort of talking about it with everybody. Okay, so here's what it says, and it's not super long, but it says, the defendant understands that evidence being held by law enforcement agencies in this case could contain DNA. The parties stipulate that the defendant's identification is a disputed issue. Now there's the two rows, yes and no. This is a no. Then it says law enforcement holds evidence that contains known DNA. That also says no. Evidence that has not been tested could be subjected to a DNA test. That says yes. And then this case includes DNA evidence that should be preserved. And that answer says no. And it's like, why wouldn't you keep the evidence? Why would you release it? Because it says the defendant agrees and the court orders that law enforcement may discard, destroy, or return all items of evidence set forth on the attached log, and that evidence will be released according to the law enforcement agency's procedure, and the defendant waives the right to further notification before the evidence is released. And a photo ID must be required for the evidence to be given out, and that's to Ronnie Watts. So they're not saying just Chris Watts' stuff. They're saying all evidence, which makes no sense. If you look, here's the info, you know, that I'm reading it right off the motion for you. As far as I knew, Rumpelstiltskin, DNA things were kept. Because there's no statute of limitations on murder, they can go back and ask for a retrial, but they can't if they give away all the evidence, if they destroy it. How will they ever go back and do anything? So DNA samples are not kept usually if they've completed the investigation and forensically examined and logged, but they haven't. They said that they haven't tested it for DNA, but they're still going to return it. You got to get on there and check that out and read it, you know, word for word yourself, because even Scott Reich is completely confused as to why they would be giving this up, why they would be returning any of this evidence. I would actually encourage you, if you haven't seen Scott Reich's commentary on all of this motion, you should go and take a listen, because he is a practicing criminal attorney. I thought this was weird before I even saw his feed about it, actually. And then when I saw his feed about it and he was confused, I was like, so I did see that correctly. I did see that, like, for what it was, that they're actually going to give away all the evidence, like they're going to return it to his family. So yeah, like there's no way that this isn't true and this isn't happening. So my question is why? Why would they do that when there's no statute of limitation? Why would they go and take away his opportunity to ever have a retrial if he decides he wasn't represented properly, or there was something that was mishandled, or whatever it is that he may turn around? Because let's face it, even Scott Reich says, this guy is going to have a ton of legal advice inside the criminal jail cells from all the other people, who've been acquitted or who have been charged with murder, so I could see him turning around later and saying, well, that wasn't really done properly for me, and somebody better give me a new retrial. How are they going to do that if they don't have any evidence to go on at that point, because they've discarded, destroyed, or returned the evidence back out to the public? That makes no sense. Okay, so Rumpelstiltskin, then you must completely be a little bit baffled yourself as to why they would be returning all of this, because it doesn't just state Chris's evidence. It's all evidence. So that's not just Chris Watts' stuff. And what the hell do they even need with his shirt and jeans and underwear from that day? It makes no sense, What DNA evidence will they be giving his parents? Whatever it is that they have, and we don't even know what all that is. And it states right here, all the evidence is going to be returned, destroyed, or released to Ronnie Watts. Like, I don't understand it at all. That's unheard of, in my opinion. Like, what case has ever done that before? Like, I'm sure there's maybe something out there, but like somebody mentioned, after everything's said and done, yeah, okay, maybe they can destroy that. But from what I understand with murder cases, they keep that crap on file for life. Like, it's just on file in a box forever until they need it again, if ever, But as far as returning it, destroying it, or releasing it in a murder trial, I have not heard of that. Coffee's gone cold. I'm rambling, so. No personal items the family are entitled to. This doesn't say anything about personal items, Rumpelstiltskin. This specifically is talking about DNA evidence. Evidence. I can't say it enough, right? Because they're not talking about like so they will still have the autopsy reports. Yes, they'll be able to use that, but will that be the only evidence they'll have at that point if they decide that they should go for a trial? I mean, shouldn't they be waiting until he at least sees the judge to decide if, all of this should actually follow through? Yeah, it says all items of evidence set forth on the attached log and the evidence will be released according to the law enforcement agency. So we don't actually see the attached evidence log, though. We see the charges, but there's no evidence log. That's the end of what we get to see. Did you see an evidence log, Rumpelstiltskin? Because I'm not aware of one. Which were held by the police. Okay, but when your son was killed and those items were returned to you, had they already had they already charged and proven guilty the person that was the offender of all of that? Because I could see that happening. It's the end of everything. So why would they want to keep that if they don't need to? He's already been, charged and proven guilty for the murder. So yeah, I could see them giving back the articles to the family, but they're not giving back Shanann's stuff to her family. They're giving everything to Watts's family. So that's what I don't get. Colette is the wife of Jeffrey McDonald, in which JM killed. Sorry, I remember the Jeffrey McDonald's case. They returned lots of evidence to Colette's father. and not to Jeffrey McDonald. See, and they're releasing it to Chris's family. It's not the victim's family that's getting this. It's his family, the person that's the accused. So I like that he's set to pay restitution, though, for any like counseling or any further, needs that the family might have. And he's going to have to try to pay back the funeral. Like he's basically going to be working for them for the rest of his time in jail. Which, so he should, right? Like, Rumpelstiltskin, when they gave you back all the evidence, did they give you the evidence of the accused as well? Or did they just give you back your son's items? The victim's family is supposed to get the evidence. That's what I was thinking as well. So that's, the whole thing about the evidence going out of the judicial system into the hands of the public, in a sense, doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe his father, ex-cop, plans on having his own testing done. Well, I never thought about that. That's kind of interesting. I'm just going to fill this up. I want to have one more coffee with you guys before we're finished for the day or the week. In case there's any viewers that are on that don't know the regular schedule of the lives, it is Tuesdays and Saturdays between 9 and 11, so that we spend some time chatting about different cases. No log was attached. Exactly. So how are we to know, Rumpelstiltskin, that this is just Chris Watts's DNA stuff? How are we to know when it states all evidence? How are we to know that it's just Chris Watts's evidence? That's what I don't get. Like once he gets in front of the judge on Monday, and the judge has a chance to explain all of the charges and all the consequences and all of his rights and all of that jazz, then we'll actually know if this is over. Because he kind of has like one last shot at saying things weren't done properly, and he wants to do it again, kind of thing. He wants a trial or whatever it is. He wants them to have to prove it. Now, can he say that even after the evidence has been returned? Because you would think that right would be taken away if there's no evidence to go on. No, they are not what? Sorry. This live streaming is really, really interesting. Yeah, I really enjoy this because it really gives us a chance to bounce things off each other back and forth. It's far more interactive versus just responding to messages, right? Because it's the evidence on Watts, his clothes, his phone, etc. But it doesn't just state the defendant's evidence. It states all evidence, Rumpelstiltskin. That's what I can't get away from. It's not just his stuff. They're making it sound like it's all of it. So her phone, her clothing, the kids' stuff, all of it. Yes, very sorry to hear about your son, for sure. Now I feel bad I didn't say that before. I'm sorry. Really sorry. I think you told me this the last time we were on a live, though, and I did say like that. That's really sad. I'm really, really sorry about that. So for me, it wasn't really new information, you know. I did remember that about you, Rumpelstiltskin, but I think that each case is different too. That the way that they do things in your son's case might not be the way that they're going to do things in Chris Watts's case. There's certain protocols that they got to follow and stuff like that, but you know, every case is a little bit different. Do not keep DNA tissue samplings. Coroner. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. If that's the case, well, then hopefully, well, obviously, hopefully that would never be destroyed, because that would just be silly. Just wait for my kettle to boil here. I want to have one more coffee with you guys before we finish for the week. And just while I have a few more visitors on, I'd like to build my channel a little bit higher. So if you guys are interested in putting up a couple flyers around some busy areas in your neighborhoods, wherever you live, let me know. I can send you a few of these in the mail. I appreciate getting some more viewers so we can spread more awareness, especially on the missing cases files that I've got going on. And there is some more that I'd like to maybe start a missing persons playlist for people that are missing. And I think it would help spread the awareness, right? So that's a goal of mine for the future. And the more the merrier, right? The more people are on the channel, the more people are going to see that awareness being spread and could possibly continue spreading it for me and with me, right? It's not trust on this. It isn't how it's worded. Yeah, that's really weird, Rumpelstiltskin. Shouldn't have put quite so much water in. It's taking forever to boil. I should have just put a little bit in so it only had to 1 cup. But I don't know, Rumpelstiltskin. I feel like they're returning more than what they're stating. And maybe yes, the coroner has the autopsy reports and any DNA that was under the fingernails or just kind of whatever was there for that. No problem, Annie. Oh, too much. Yummy. Shanann and the girls are buried. All testing is done. All evidence will be logged. They have investigated to the letter. Well, I have milk. Nice. This is my naughty cow stuff that I like to put in my coffee. It gives a little creamier taste to the coffee that I drink. So, and the coffee that I drink has brown sugar in it because it's healthier for you. Which is this stuff. Cafe Right Premium. Really tasty stuff though, for sure. DNA is not returned to anyone. Okay, I don't think that the DNA would be necessarily returned, but all of those items of clothing and stuff, whatever Shanann had on, whatever the girls had, and then whatever Chris had. Yes, it is good stuff, Annie. I feel like this live was a little bit less professional because we've moved around so many times, but I guess it'll keep it interesting for some new viewers. The waiver relates to Watts, but the waiver is relating to the whole case, though. Going back to that computer. Yes, it's okay. Of course, I spilled a little bit, but whatever. Deal with that after. I hate it when it's buffering. People may withdraw from this agreement if the defendant commits a new felony offense while awaiting sentencing. So you're pretty sure that you think that this has nothing to do with any of the evidence that includes Shanann or Celeste or Bella? Tampering with the deceased's body. You know, there's every time there's more news that comes out about NICO, like the NICO law, it's spelled NIKO, and then they have it in the motions NICO, and I'm like, I wonder, you know, which was the correct spelling for his name, but I think definitely we've got a little bit more surprise to wait for, in the fact that he still needs to get in front of that judge, and we need to make sure that he's understood all of his rights and he knows exactly what he's, you know, committing himself to. Or no problem. We'll probably be wrapping up soon, in about 10 minutes or so here. So, but I realize that I still think that it's very weird that Ronnie Watts is the one collecting, you know, this stuff. I don't know. I feel like it should have been the victim's family that would have gotten this stuff, but who knows? Is there any other cases that anyone's following that you guys would like me to look into that are current or in the news right now? Because as I said, I don't necessarily get all of the news or catch it all. And if you guys are enjoying this video with me, this live, a thumbs up would be great support. I love the support from you guys. We're doing great interacting. I love that too. And I hope that we find out some more information on Monday from the judge, you know. I know that there's quite a few motions that have gone in for news stations. So Law and Crime Network have gotten on trying to get into this situation. Ms. Productions or Mrs. Productions, the Denver Post, the Associated Press, the Longmont Times, and Denver News, which also works with KCNC and KUSA. So quite a few stations that are sort of wanting to get some more information on this case, right? To be able to get us, I think, a little bit more closure too. So his rights would have been explained before, during, you know what? His rights still have to be fully explained by the judge before all of this can be accepted. So it may have been kind of explained by his lawyers, but we won't actually know if he understands everything fully until the judge sits down with him face to face and asks him verbally if he understands every single one of these charges, every single one of these, you know, consequences, and he understands his rights. So, you know, once we get through that, then we'll be able to say he's understood all of his rights, and, you know, he has been explained some of these rights before and during this process. But the judge needs to make sure finally that he fully understands everything attached to this before it'll be concrete, you know? And even at that point, you guys, there's no statute of limitations. He can turn around later and say, well, I didn't really understand that or something. I mean, the judge will turn around and say, well, I was there and I asked you if you understood that and you said that you did, kind of thing. But we'll cross that bridge when and if we get there. I don't know if both families will be there Monday or not. Shanann's family will have what's relating to her and the autopsies they would know of. Yeah, the autopsy reports will be already known on both sides. And I'm sure that they already have that information a long time ago. Yes, the judge has to accept everything from Chris, saying he understands everything, and, you know, that gets recorded. So in my opinion, still though, you guys, returning his evidence to the outside world is going to tamper with the fact if he ever comes back to wanting a retrial. I don't think he'll be able to successfully request something like that. He has 49 weeks to appeal. Okay. Good to know, Rumpelstiltskin. And does that vary state to state, do you know? The amount of time for his appeals? I'm just curious in case you might know that, but it's okay if you don't know. So quick rundown too, not necessarily the parents of Watts, okay. I don't know if that was in response to 49-week appeal question, actually. But a quick rundown of what we've got coming up is David and Louise trial, or David and Louise Turpin, that are due in court on November 30th. That's not trial, erase that I said trial. But hopefully, you know, we'll get to find out if there's going to be a trial date set on that date. And we'll be able to find out if they're going to carry on with their not guilty plea or if they will change that to guilty. I was just wondering if he will top himself soon. What? Sorry, Annie C. She's not sure, but it is in the written waiver and plea. I did not see anything for timeline in that, and I read that thing pretty thoroughly. And I could have missed it. I am human. It's possible that I missed it. That's how many years he's going to get for each count. Oh, wait, I just saw something about statute. Crap. What was that? I believing the official proceedings was pending in process. Proceeding. Legislative, judicial, administrative. Evidence under oath, including magistrate. Proceedings. Okay, prescribed by the statute defining the offense. That's what I saw. Statute defining the defense. Darn it. Yeah, I don't see that anywhere, honestly, although I have to go back and really look through it one more time to specifically look for that, but I don't see in here where it states. But there's a lot of info here. Where that may state his statute of limitation on this. I don't think that there is one, to be honest, because it's murder, so. Oh, I get what you mean, Annie C. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to hear, you know, something like that has happened in the end, you know, that everything's caught up with him in his mind and they've stopped maybe the suicide watch, that he may take his own life. Just having gone from having everything to nothing, you know, and this just being so heavy and huge, I could see it possibly happening. You're back, Elena. Hi. Do you have some issues with technical issues? Just don't want to get my computer wet with coffee. I want to grab a Kleenex. Of course, I had to spill my coffee, right? Rumpelstiltskin says the autopsies. Interesting. Well, you know what? We'll have some more info, I guess, on Monday the 19th. And just stay tuned. I will keep you guys posted as soon as I know something. And I totally appreciate your guys' help with all of this. You know, sometimes I do get a little bit busy with life and I haven't quite gotten on to certain sites or certain things to see it. So I really appreciate it when you guys help me with that. You know, especially steering me in the direction of, hey, did you see that? Go check that out. And it gives us a chance to sort of see and view the same thing and talk about that afterwards. So I think we're going to wrap up. If there's any last minute questions, now would be the time to shoot it out there. Otherwise, we will be back Saturday from 9 till 11. Usual time, GMT time, I believe, is YouTube's timeline for that. So if you guys are in different time zones, just check out which GMT is and what that is for you. So it's 9 to 11 a.m. And if there's no last minute questions from anybody, then I guess we'll just sort of wrap this up and we'll come back again next week. And excuse me, it's been really, really great chatting and interacting with you guys. I really appreciate the support and the views and the sharing, especially of Jamie Kloss's case. She's still missing now. I think we're 29 days. So very scary for her. I just want to keep that in the mainstream, keep everybody, you know, remembering Jamie Kloss's face and her name. I hope you guys enjoyed the latest video that was put out. That was on a suggestion of Ray Holt, you know, to change the hair color, change the hairstyle. That could be something that the perpetrators have done to Jamie Kloss already. I could see them doing something like that before moving her. So I really appreciate the views and the sharing and all of that. And I really appreciate the support. So we'll absolutely speak soon, you guys. And I think there was a lady on here that I'm supposed to try to get in touch with for the on Facebook. So if anybody's interested in doing those flyers with me, just shoot me a message and we can corroborate your information together, and then we'll send out a few flyers for you to put up in your area. I would really appreciate that support as well. And I thank you guys all for watching. So I hope everybody has a really, really great day, and we'll see you again soon for videos and live again on Saturday. Okay, so I hope everybody has a great rest of the week, and we will chat with you again on the weekend. So it's go watch the Fox interview. Yeah, I will go and check out the Fox interview. I won't forget. I will. I'll do it right after this, actually. DNA sample. And then, you know what? We will chat some more for sure soon. Yes, Jamie is a worry for sure. Absolutely. I want to keep her face on the mainstream front lines. So yes, have a great week, everybody. And I will touch base with you guys on Facebook Messenger and get out some of those flyers to the few people that have offered to help me with that. I really, really appreciate that. So we'll chat again soon, and thanks for watching, and see you again next time. Bye for now.